Hello, everyone. I'm James, and today we are going to be evaluating OpenAI's latest model, which is called O1, and that has just been released a few hours ago. And the idea of this model is that it's the latest, most advanced model after the latest iterations of GPT-4, and it's supposed to be a more rational, deliberate thinking model, which can slowly go over instructions. It can follow list of instructions, and it is supposedly really good at problem solving and writing code. So what we're going to do today is basically we're going to evaluate that claim. They have a few demos up here on the OpenAI website, for example, generating a snake. They've got some other coding examples, solving a puzzle. They have ones where they're making web animations and these kind of things. But we've kind of seen all of these examples before. So what I wanted to test is, is it really as good at problem solving and coding as OpenAI is claiming? So I see we have a few people watching. We also have Burhan here in the background. Hey, Burhan. And
Yo, hello.
And so if you guys have something you want me to test, let me know and I'll test it out. But I have a lot of thoughts for things that I'd like to test. So the first thing that I sort of would like to test is when I first started evaluating LLMs, we were using a framework called Human Eval. So I'm going to go to my Human Eval evaluation, and I did this earlier with GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. And so what these are is they are like coding problems specifically designed to give to LLMs to see how LLMs rank against each other. And hey, everyone that just joined. Today we're going to go over OpenAI's O1 model and see if it is really good as people are claiming right now on Twitter. So we're going to run it through some evaluations, and I was just showing human eval. And when I did this evaluation, it was back sometime last year. I sort of was comparing GPT 3.5, GPT-4 at the time, and Code Llama. And so what human eval is it's basically like a list of, let's see, almost 163 Python problems. And so basically, each one of these Python problems is something like this. Write a function to sort a given list of integers in a specific order. And so what I did back at that time was we had GPT 3.5, GPT-4, and oh yeah, hey, thanks for joining. Yeah, so OpenAI just released the new O1 model, and we are just testing it out. So basically the human eval, what I did was I took that and I ran it on GPT 3.5, GPT-4, and I think it was Code Llama, the other one. And so basically we ran it 10 times for each model to sort of see how many of those times the model succeeded on performing the coding task. So if we scroll down to the final evaluation, or up here, we see that at this time, GPT-4 was solving the coding problems 85% of the time. GPT 3.5 was solving it 77% of the time, and Code Llama was 45%. Now, imagine this was last year. So things have gotten a lot better, and I haven't run these evals every month. But so I'd like to right now, I'd like to take some of the harder ones, and I'd like to run those on O1. So there's two ways that you can use O1 right now, and the cool thing is that it's actually available to everyone. So one thing you can do is you can just go to chatgpt.com, and here, if you are paying the $20 a month, you can select O1 Mini, and that's a $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus. And so yeah, we can ask it a problem. So Burhan, what's a tricky problem that GPT-4 that you couldn't get it to solve for you?
GPT-4?
Yeah, what's like a problem that
What should we
where
start
you
with?
previously asked GPT-4 and it wasn't satisfying for you?
Yeah, well, let's just start with how many R's do we have in strawberry?
Yeah. Should we try that? Should we try that in GPT-4 first?
Yeah, yeah, go
How
on.
many R's are in strawberry? Okay, so here it says
Yeah,
there's two. All right. So
it's off.
you can solve this with GPT-4, and I know a way, which is how many R's are in strawberry. Use Python, for example, and that should do it. Um, so so what that does is here it writes this program with this 2-line program, and it counts how many R's are in strawberry. Now it chose not to do that, which I think is part of why this is interesting. Because obviously, like, oh, it could have done this, but it didn't. I had to tell it what to do. So maybe the idea of let's start over. Yeah, maybe the idea of O1 Mini is that I don't have to tell it that. So let's try it. Let's try it. Okay. Okay. So this is something totally different. So it thought for a second.
Yeah,
Okay, interesting.
interesting.
Right. So I don't think it used Python. It even said when I was just switching tabs or when I was switching models that it doesn't have access to tools. So it does not have access to the code interpreter to Python here. It has to work it out
Right.
for itself, and it's done something
And
pretty
that was
interesting.
just a word.
What'd you
Yeah,
say?
they actually broke it down in like, yeah, I'm saying they actually broke it down in like single words and then checked each word. So how would
Yeah.
it react if we give it like a whole sentence? Would it like go through each one?
Oh, you mean like I should ask it to count the number of R's in one sentence, or what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That I want to see how it would proceed then,
Okay, interesting.
like the whole
So
sentence.
let's take this and say count the number of R's in the text below, something like this. Okay.
Yep.
So the demos that I saw before. Oh wow. Okay, so here it's really breaking things down into steps, and probably if I do this, it's broken it down into 4 steps. I'm thinking through the number of R's in the word strawberry, confirming letter frequency, spotting letters, counting and highlighting. Well, that's interesting. Let's see if I got it
James,
right
can you close the sidebar on the left? We can't see the whole chat.
here. Does that help?
Perfect.
Cool.
Yep.
Um, okay. And we had someone asking about can we try to solve a coding error that GPT-4 fails to work, or maybe write a simple program and see the difference between the execution? Yeah, definitely. That's the next thing I want to do. So, so here, it's broken it down by word. No, it's broken it down by letter, and it looks right to me. Shall we count it out? So,
Yeah, go on.
so this is a formatting error, I believe, where it's tried to. I think it's tried to bold the letters twice or something because this means bold. So it's really formatting. But we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we did get 7. Good stuff.
Okay, so people are like, okay, that's cool, but I already know how to do that. I can count R's in text using Python. So yeah, the next level up would be, can we solve a coding error that GPT-4 fails to work, or maybe write a simple program and see the difference between their execution. Yo, hey, seeing some people I know. Thanks for joining, guys. So just for everyone who just joined, like OpenAI has just released this new O1, and there's a lot of demos, or actually there's a lot of claims going on around Twitter saying, you know, it's way more reasonable, it's way more powerful reasoning model. So we're kind of testing some of the claims made there by playing around with it. So you can access this on, you know, the ChatGPT website, and then the other way is through the API, which if we have time, we'll do after this. I showed this GitHub repository, and I will share that here in the chat. And so this is not a new framework for evaluating LLMs. This is actually quite an old one, but it does give a bit of an idea of like what are some hard problems for models to solve. So this first column shows code llama success rate on a problem. For example, write a function to return the maximum element in the given list. All of these models did that 100% of the time. It's an easy problem. But another one, like count the number of times the digit 7 appears in integers less than n that are divisible by 11 or 13. Actually, you know, that seems pretty easy, but GPT 3.5 has gotten it right only 9 out of 10 times. And then one time it made a mistake. It made like a small brain fart kind of mistake. So I only have access to O1 min and preview. When is the O1 coming out? Let's have a look at the OpenAI documentation. So yeah, it's always a little bit tricky with the names. So basically, you said you have access to O1 min and preview. Oh yeah, so O1 preview. That's basically O1. Preview means it's a beta version. It's an early version of the actual product. So that is basically O1 is O1 preview. The preview doesn't mean it's like a modified or a less powerful model. It just means that it might still be buggy, and they're getting some, you know, that's something to expect when you're using it. And then you have O1 mini. Oh, you can reach out to me on Twitter. Yeah, it's my handle is James Mirza on everything. So you can, if you have a question or you want to join a stream sometime, you can just you can send me a DM on Twitter or tweet at me. So basically, then you have the mini model, and so that's the one that we're using here, right? Yeah. And so what I would do is I'd probably keep using mini until I come to something that that mini doesn't solve, and then I would probably go on to preview, because it's basically a trade-off between speed and reasoning ability. And the reason why they put these sort of tag markers here is that you know, if you write some code that uses O1 and everything's working fine, and you don't want to use the latest version, but you just want to stick with the version that's working, then it's better to use this in your code. So yeah, that's just kind of an overview of the different. Yeah, and yeah, thanks for watching. It's good to have lots of people asking questions and bringing up new topics to learn about. So back to the coding problems. We solved a very trivial problem with counting the letters in strawberry. So now I want to solve. Let's look for a problem, Burhan, that's a little bit more tricky. And towards the end, they start to get a little bit hairier. This one was really interesting because this one is really interesting. Um, and Burhan, you know the Fibonacci sequence, right?
Yep.
So 1, 1. What's the next one? 2, 3, right?
Yep. 5 and 8.
Yeah. So so that's something that any program, that any LLM should be able to do pretty easily,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a classic. It's like first day of, or maybe first year computer science problem, right?
Yep.
You take the last two numbers and you add them to get the next number. So you have 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So 1
13.
what? Yeah, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. But so they came up with this interesting challenge, which is like, let's look at it. So this is the prompt. Um, everyone knows Fibonacci sequence. Yeah. So, all right, all right. So everyone knows Fibonacci sequence. It was studied deeply by mathematicians in the last couple of centuries. Here, let me make this a little bit thinner. So, um, yeah, here. It was studied deeply by mathematicians in the last couple of centuries. However, what people don't know is Fibonacci sequence, which I don't think exists. But I think that's why this is such a brilliant problem, because if you want to really test someone's reasoning ability, you need to come up with something that they never could have heard of before. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so Fibonacci sequence is defined by recurrence. So they give this sort of complex algorithm. So the first, almost convoluted, like, so the first one is 3, and then after that, if the index is even, um, you give, so for example 2, you give, if we're doing the second one, you do 1 plus the index over 2. So sort of every even index is a function of the index. It's not a recursive algorithm. So it's just a it's just a linearly increasing value. But every odd index value in the series is sort of like a weighted, sort of like an average. It's sort of like a sum of the last item, the item before that, um, and the next item. So yeah, I wouldn't think too hard about like why the, what is the purpose of the Fibonacci sequence. I think it's just something they made up for fun.
Yeah.
Um, but here's the point. Like, this problem tripped up all three LLMs 100% of the time.
Damn.
Um, and I think I have an idea why. It's not that it's like a particularly it's not that it's like a crazy hard to solve problem, but if you are thinking of the Fibonacci sequence, then that can kind of mess you up. And since all of these models had been trained on hundreds of examples of generating the Fibonacci sequence,
Right. It would mislead you, like if you're thinking
yeah,
about it the same. Yeah.
exactly. You have to completely forget everything you know about the Fibonacci sequence in order to
Mm-hmm.
solve this. So, so what they do is they ask the programs um, to generate functions that create this sequence. And now I haven't actually looked too much um, at the ones that they got wrong, so I could be completely wrong in the way that I evaluated this. But what we do know is, like, we have this case where we can check if it's correct.
Right.
So yeah, hope this
So
works.
even if it's like completely unknown and a made up thing, but the non-plus version does use the data to train itself, right? So if someone used the same problem for a non-plus ChatGPT, they might know. They might
Oh
actually train it on.
yeah, I'm not sure if
You get what I mean,
I'm not sure how fast that training group is. Like
right?
I believe they use it for evaluation data. Um, so yeah. Now hopefully there's no other bug in here which is causing this. Like hopefully this check is actually correct because it's possible there could actually be a mistake um, in the unit tests. I don't think OpenAI made this, so I'm just taking taking it at what it's worth that they actually the LLMs actually never solved it correctly. I haven't manually checked over. But let's try it. So
Right.
let's try it first with GPT-4. And so I'm just gonna do I'm just gonna say finish the function. It's gonna be interesting. And it's gonna write a whole function. And so what I'm gonna do is I'll open a Colab notebook, and we can test to see if if this code is working. So yeah, let's try it. 1, 3, 2. Okay, interesting.
It got
Uh,
the first three right.
yeah. So potentially this is this is actually a tricky problem because I don't know. Let's look at what the answers are supposed to be. So we basically, for everyone who's watching, we are testing GPT-4 versus o1, which is OpenAI's latest model, on tricky problems to see if it's really better at reasoning. And so what I've done just now is I took a Python problem, which is sort of an abstract problem, which we know GPT-4 is bad at. And so we're first testing it with GPT-4. So this function is supposed to output something like 1, 3, 2, 8, I believe. And I'm trusting that this is correct here. It's supposed to output something like that. So, and we could actually take this correct solution and test it against that. But so that's what it's supposed to give out, 1, 3, 2, 8. But so tested on GPT-4, we actually got 1, 3, 2, 5. So it's tripped up. And I'm not going to debug this line by line, but here, let me add you back in, Burhan. You back?
Yep.
Cool. I'm not going to debug this line by line, but I have an idea where I have like an idea where I might look, but I don't want to bore us with that. So let's do the same thing, and let's do it on O1 mini. I want to start a new chat. Okay. So let's see what it's doing. Okay. So it's noticing it thought for 10 seconds, and this part here is called the chain of thought. It's just a word for the steps of reasoning, as it's reasoning through a problem on its own, assessing the function, piecing together values, breaking down the function. And this is not like planned out beforehand. It's sort of each step, it's looking at the last steps that it did, and it's looking at what's the next step I need to do until it finally feels that it's finished. So you can see that it has generated a whole bunch of thoughts. And first thing I want to do is actually just test this and see, see if it works. Let's try it. Okay, this is exciting. Okay, cool. It worked.
Yep. Interesting.
Yeah.
It took
So
like 10 seconds, right?
let's look. Yeah, it took 10 seconds. It didn't feel like 10 seconds because we were having fun,
Of
but
course.
but I think um like yeah, that is that's actually yeah, but I think like if you were writing a lot of code, that would actually
Take time.
so.
Yeah.
So I think I have some new comments. Oh yeah, someone said its reasoning steps look similar to Devon AI. So yeah, has anyone here used Devon AI? I haven't played around with myself. I've only talked to people, but that makes sense because Devon AI is also using sort of a chain of thought process, as far as I know, and yeah, this is basically just that, but it's I believe it's a foundation model, which has been architected and trained specifically. I'm looking for more technical details here, um, specifically for that chain of thought. So they say we train these models to spend more time thinking through problems before they respond, much like a person would. Through training, they learn to refine their thinking process, try different strategies, and recognize their mistakes. For complex reasoning tasks, this is a significant advancement and represents a new level of AI capability. It tells me nothing about how it actually works, but it's a good it's a good way to I guess intuitively understand what's happening. So what we did just now was we took a problem which is called human eval problem number 130 that consistently was got wrong by earlier models. And yeah, we tested it out and it worked on it failed on GPT-4, but it worked on O1. Now, with that, I have to say, um, there are other possibilities for why O1 could have gotten it right and GPT-4 could have gotten it wrong. That aren't just that that O1 is superior. For example, yeah, exactly. That's the thought, to train them to have a chain of thought inherently, whatever that means. I don't know what kind of training data you would use for that. The one thing I wanted to say though, oh yeah, is it the future of development LLMs to take something that delivers results with the prompts and add it to the model itself that delivers results? Something that delivers results with the prompts. Could you rephrase that? I'm not entirely sure what you're what you're envisioning. I just wanted to say like there are a couple things to keep in mind. Like if this problem, if the solution to this problem ended up somehow in the training data of O1, then that would be sort of a cheat. That would mean that this whole test is invalid, and that does happen sometimes. However, I hope that OpenAI didn't allow that to happen, and the only way that we can know is by basically keep testing and keep coming up with new sorts of problems. So just keep that in mind, that like there's always loopholes, and there's no way to evaluate a model thoroughly, without actually going through the whole, without actually taking the time and deliberate process to really to be really thorough, and it may take days or even weeks to really see where the advantages of this model lie. So, but we did see that it failed the task for GPT-4 and it did it successfully. for for O1, which is the Fibonacci sequence, and it doesn't run the code O1, but if we took the code and pasted it into Google Colab, it did exactly what we were expecting. So I can do the same thing on just to see how long it takes. I'll do it on O1 preview, which, just to be clear, is the same thing as O1. It's just an early version, and we'll see how long that takes. This is, I selected the wrong one. That's GPT-4. So let's select O1 preview. Okay. Okay, cool. And I have to go soon, so I think we have time to do one final problem after this. And I think we should do like, I think we should do something front-end development, which will be really cool. So, okay. That took 18 seconds, so 80% more. And we can try this. And I'm assuming that, let's take the example usage here. Okay. That looks like it was supposed to be. Yep. Okay. So this is GPT-4. Okay, the wrong answer. This is GPT. This, I keep saying this is O1. It's not called GPT-O1 or whatever. It's just called O1. And then this one is I'm sorry. Yeah, and then this is O1 mini, and then this is O1. So so Burhan, what do you say we do one more?
Yeah, one more. Let's go.
And
Yeah, let's ask it to make components, TypeScript components.
TypeScript components.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that'd be pretty interesting. Did you have something in mind? Like, do you have a particular thing in mind?
Not really, but I was experimenting with V0 the other day to
Yeah.
create something like. Wait, have you seen the animation that pops up when you use ChatGPT voice thingy? Like on your phone?
When you use ChatGPT voice on your phone, the animation that pops up, you mean the little
Yep.
circle that kind of bubble that
Yes.
talks to you? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I asked V0 to do, but it wasn't like close. It was close to it, but it wasn't really on mark. So we can try that.
Yeah. Let's try something like that. I'm thinking actually to use, because I don't have too much time, I'm thinking to use just JavaScript.
Fair enough.
Because I don't know what dependencies. I mean, I'd have to do a whole another test to see what libraries it's been trained on. I mean, hopefully, like it's been trained on all of GitHub public repositories recently, but we don't know. So that'll be a few more days for me to test. So
Sure.
let's do. Man, I'm thinking it'd be really cool if we had like a platform online where we could just like run code in the browser and we could test it. Wouldn't that be cool?
Right.
Um,
I'm noting that down just in case.
You're what? No,
I'm
yeah.
just noting it down just in case.
Oh wait, yeah. Actually, let's. So there's this thing called Sandbox, and so in Sandbox we can create like we can just create a little code sandbox in our browser using React, HTML, Next, or Python. So let's do like let's just do vanilla HTML and JS to start with. I think that would be. I like to just start simple, and then for the next stream we'll do more with like UI components, TypeScript, which is, I agree, super interesting. So hopefully this works fine, and I'm going to open up the script.js, which is empty. So let's do a new chat. And let's use O1 Mini. And let's come up with a prompt to ask it to build the application that you wanna build. Yeah. So what should I write?
Interesting. Do you have something in mind?
Sure. So I would say something like, um, I want to create a new JavaScript file, plain vanilla JavaScript. Um, write a script to create an animation on the page, um, a circle. What does the circle look like exactly?
In ChatGPT, it's just like round circle.
And then
It's
it like
white.
it like gets bigger and smaller.
Yep, yep. Based on the voice index frequency.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, I mean that would be really interesting. So, I don't even know if this is possible to have it speak, to have it make a JavaScript program that speaks. Um, let's say because I'm not sure where we get the audio file uh,
Hmm.
from. Well, how about this? Write a script to listen to the. I want to say listen to the voice on the microphone.
Yep.
But the problem is actually when I'm streaming, that won't work because my streaming is already using the microphone. I had this problem before. Um,
Fair.
so let's just say a circle that gets bigger and smaller.
With some intervals of time. Make it like 1 2
Yeah.
seconds.
What'd you say?
Like make it interval like bigger and smaller like with
Okay.
some duration.
Okay. With 5 second duration. I don't know if this is hard enough, but yeah, it's something to start with. We can also try doing the voice thing, and
Hmm.
then yeah, we'll just have to try it afterwards. Okay, so
It's taken some time.
yeah, it's going through a whole bunch of steps. Okay, we have CSS here. We have this, and we have um, the body just contains this one script, and we have some CSS, um, and it's appending the div. So we really just need to copy the CSS and the JavaScript, of course. Okay, cool. So, oops, we might have to use something else. I had this. Okay, let's see. We're having all sorts of bugs. So, I'm gonna put that in the CSS that it gave me. Oh, I'll just replace the whole CSS, and then I'll replace the script.js that we got as well. Now it's really fun to go through line by line and really see how it's thinking. Um, so there's a lot of stuff in here to delete from the template. Okay, I mean it doesn't look
Wait,
bad
we
at
can't
all.
see it.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
So this is this is the
Interesting.
animation that we just created with O1 Mini. Now I'd love to make something a little bit more advanced. Maybe we can do that in the next stream. I think the the thing that we were talking about doing right now is probably now make it pulse using the user's microphone as the sound gets louder and quieter. That was the next step. And so here we have a comment.
If we
Um,
can't use the mic, we'll just ask for an audio input. It can use like just the
yeah,
audio.
yeah. Oh wow. Okay, it's really generated a lot of code very fast. Okay. And I want to say that this is actually, I can't rush to any conclusions, but I want to say that this code looks good. It's added a lot of comments, which I like. And so now, just to see if there's any errors in the code, the console, and so you cannot set properties of null, setting text content. Okay, message.
It can't access the microphone too.
That could be it. So we may have to test this afterwards and see. But,
Maybe deploy it.
Oh yeah. Let me.
Then I can test it. Maybe.
Let me deploy it, and I will send it to you after the stream so you can test it.
Perfect.
But before I go, just have one comment here, which I thought was quite interesting. This is the future development in LLMs to take something that the results with the prompts and add it to the model itself. For chain of thought was used in the prompt. It gave better results than just a normal prompt for problem solving. With this update, they kind of have successfully implemented what the OpenAI team has been mentioning, the slow thinking inspired from Daniel Kahneman's book. With the GPTs, we had fast thinking. Yeah, cool analogy. I don't know who's read this book. I got through the first half of it, and it's super interesting. And it's mostly interesting to me because of this book was written like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. Like it's not a new book. It was written in 2011, but it talks a lot about the problem, the difference between fast intuitive thinking and slow rational problem solving. So just show you the book, and it's a very famous book. So if anyone's really interested in these kind of topics, and the philosophy behind like cognitive science behind making these kind of AIs and how they compare with like the human brain, I think this is.
How long is the book?
It's got like at least 10 chapters in it. It's let's see, 500 pages. but if you're interested in just the thinking fast and slow, like just this kind of tagline, that's all covered in the first couple of chapters. So
Right.
And it was really cool. It was really cool just to see like how this applies to something that was basically invented, 10 years after the book came out. And it's a pretty basic distinction to make, but yeah, it really applies to to how we solve problems as people. Yeah. So cool. And yeah, I hope everyone has learned something. I thought this was really, really fun to play around with.
Yep.
And,
Very fun.
yeah, if you have any topics or things that you want us to test O1 on, for example, maybe we'll make some UI components. Send us a message or a chat, and we'll try it out next time.
Sweet.
All right, thanks everyone, and yeah, see you, Burhan.
See ya. Take care.